Hello together, my name is Jürgen Reinmann. I'm Director Regulatory of ENVEA Global. And today in this video I will answer some questions about the measuring of biogenic CO2. So let's start. If we talk about CO2 emissions, we have to differ between fossil and biogenic CO2 emissions. Biogenic CO2 emissions are generated, for example, by burning of wood or plants. And since the industrialization, we emit such kind of fossil CO2 emissions in big quantities, which is generating then the greenhouse gas effect. And due to that, we have as one tool to reduce CO2 emissions worldwide different emission trading systems. And if we look on Europe, for example, we have our European Union emission trading system. We have in UK an own emission trading system. And in Germany, we have what we call the Fuel Trading Act, which is also handling emissions of CO2. And in all these emission trading systems, the emissions of biogenic CO2 are free. So the operators only have to buy credits for fossil CO2 emissions. We have also similar requirements according the generating of so-called green energy. So once again, here in Europe, we have the Renewable Energy Directive, or in UK, we have the Renewable Obligation Certificate Scheme. So also for this topic, it's quite important for different operators to determine the biogenic and the fossil fraction of their CO2 emissions. In general, there are several requirements of operators of waste-to-energy plants to report CO2 emissions. So according to the European ETS, the total and the biogenic CO2 emissions have to be reported since beginning of this year. There is not yet any trading. It's only to collect information about the total CO2 emissions and also the fossil fraction of it, because the European Commission wants to decide in 2026 if the waste-to-energy sector will be implemented in the European emission trading from 2028. And in UK, they made the decision already that from 2028, the waste-to-energy sector will be implemented in the UK emission trading. And from 2026, they also have to monitor for the total CO2 emissions, and once again also to determine the fossil and the biogenic fraction. And there are different methods accepted. This could be calculation-based method. This could be an input control, whereby there the operators have to take a sample every 5,000 kilogram of waste, which could be quite a lot of work, and to let it analyze. Or there could be monitoring solutions like we want to talk about today. There's sometimes the question or concern that these measurement technologies could be quite expensive and high investment. But it's less as probably you was expecting, because if we look on waste incineration, we have normally already installed flow monitors for the flue gas, and gas analyzer can be normally extended relatively easy also to the measurement of CO2. And then we have additional such automatic sampler, but the costs are also in comparison to already known samplers, like for example for dioxin. So in total, the investment costs for measurement technologies are not really high. Our solution is a sampler which we designed for that. It's called the AMESA B. We integrated this experience of decades of automatic sampling in this new kind of sampler, which is designed for CO2 sampling. For that, we extract a part of a flue gas through a heated probe and sample line, and absorbs the CO2 on a CO2 absorber cartridge. We sample up to 1 month with our system, and after that we change the cartridge and send it to a laboratory where the sampled CO2 is analyzed with a so-called carbon-14 method. With the carbon-14 method, it's possible to determine the biogenic and the fossil fraction. Biogenic material consists partly of carbon-14, whereby fossil material consists only of carbon-12, and in this way it's possible to make the difference between fossil and biogenic CO2. This is a really precise determination of these fractions, and the design of our system fulfills totally the minimum requirements of a standard which is called ISO 13833. That's a standard which describes this method for the determination of biogenic CO2. As mentioned before, the waste-to-energy sector will be implemented in several emission trading systems. So for that, the operators will be requested, or partly are already requested today, to report their total CO2 emissions, and specific here also to report the biogenic and fossil fraction of it, as they only need to buy certificates for the fossil CO2 emissions. And the cost savings for operators could be quite huge. Only as a small example, if we take a waste incineration plant, which is incinerating around 150,000 tons of waste per year, will generate around 150,000 tons of CO2 per year. And if an operator can approve with such a method that he has only 1% less of fossil CO2 emissions, we will talk about a reduction of 1,500 tons per year of fossil CO2 for which he needs to buy certificates. And if you look on the actual price per ton CO2 in the European emission trading system, it's around 70 euros per ton. So, and if you multiply this by this 1,500 tons of saving by such a potential approval, we talk about cost savings of more than 100,000 euros per year for the operator. So this means the return of investment period for such measurement equipment will be quite less than 1 year. And so for that, quite important for operators to determine in a high accuracy this biogenic and fossil fraction of the CO2 emissions. At all, we think that the best solution to determine the biogenic fraction is the measurement technology approach. So this means to measure the total CO2 emissions in the stack with the volume flow meter of the flue gas and CO2 analyzer for the total CO2, and then to use this sampling method and the analyzers with the carbon-14. And with the AMESA B, we can offer a system which implement all the experience we have with hundreds of installations of long-term samplers, even if it was for other applications. But we have all this experience in our sampler, and so for that we can offer really a system with very high quality and low uncertainties in the extraction of flue gas. Besides this, the system is also very easy to be integrated in the side of the operator and to be connected to the data exchange system, which are already installed in the plant. We use all this experience and can offer you a full package from the, let's say, design specific for your application, but also for the installation and after-sales service with our network of technicians. So I hope that these answers were quite informative for you and helpful for any decision you have to make. And if you want to learn more about this topic, get in touch with me or my team at ENVEA Global and find out how you can become carbon confident, because it will be very important for you. So thanks a lot for your attention and your interest, and I hope we will hear you soon. Bye.